ex-girlfriend's coworker slipped and said how's she doing after the party. I asked what party. 2 hours later, I found the video her dancing on a guy at the office retreat. I watched it once, packed my things, and disappeared. She called me 47 times that night. I never answered. Hey viewers, before we get into the video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button if you want more stories like this. Thanks! I've never been a jealous guy. If anything, I was always a little too trusting the easygoing, go-have-fun boyfriend who never checked her phone, questioned her friendships, or asked where she was going. I believed, maybe naively, that mutual respect was enough. That if you loved someone, you didn't need to interrogate them or track their location. You just trusted. That day showed me how wrong I was. It started with something small, one sentence, 7 words. I stopped by her office building that Monday afternoon to drop off her laptop charger. She had forgotten it this morning and texted me in a panic. I figured I'd swing by during lunch, hand it off, maybe grab a quick coffee with her. That's when I ran into Daniel in the lobby. Hey man, her coworker said, overly cheerful. How's she doing after the party? I blinked. What party? He froze. Actually froze, like someone had paused him. His eyes widened just a bit. Then he forced a laugh too loud, too sudden. Oh, nothing. Never mind, man. No, I said, keeping my voice calm. What party? His face flushed, and he rubbed the back of his neck. I thought you knew. It's not important. That was the moment. The shift from casual conversation to nervous avoidance. The way he couldn't meet my eyes. The way he shuffled his feet like he'd been caught. Something inside me went cold. I didn't push, didn't accuse, didn't even raise my voice. I just repeated, quietly, what party? He faked a cough. Office retreat this past weekend. She didn't tell you? That's when I knew something was off. Special. Not just because she hadn't mentioned it, that was strange enough, but because she'd told me she spent the weekend at her friend Amber's. A self-care girls' night. Face masks, wine, movies. I'd even bought them snacks. Stayed home alone without a second thought. Now Daniel looked like he wanted to disappear. Right, I said. The retreat? He nodded too quickly. Yeah. It was nothing. Just team building stuff. Totally routine. Routine except he looked ready to bolt. He mumbled something about a meeting and left. I didn't follow, didn't go upstairs. I left the charger at the front desk and walked back to my car. I sat there for a while, staring at the dashboard, a heavy, nauseating feeling settling in my stomach. She had lied. That alone didn't prove anything, but it was enough to set everything else in motion. The sudden need for alone time, the constant checking of her phone, the new office friendships, the late nights, the vague don't worry about it explanations, the emotional distance. I had ignored all of it. She said it was stress, work, hormones, life, anything but the truth. I didn't want to assume the worst. I didn't want to be that guy. So I forced myself to breathe, tried to rationalize it. Maybe she just didn't want to talk about work on her days off. Maybe the retreat was boring, insignificant, not worth mentioning. Then came the second blow. 2 hours later, sitting in my car outside a cafe, I opened Instagram. That's when I saw Ite's story from someone in her office. Not her, but a coworker I barely knew. The kind of person who tags everyone without thinking. The retreat had been over the weekend, but people were still posting photos and videos. I tapped through them. Coworkers posing by a lake, someone paddleboarding, people laughing around a bonfire. Normal. Then came the video. A crowded dance floor, loud music bleeding through the speaker, flashing lights, and there she was. Right in the center, dancing on some guy. Not just. Dancing pressed against him in a way that made everything inside me go cold. His hands on her waist, her arms around his neck, her head tilted back as she laughed. That smile. I knew that smile. The one she had when she forgot the rest of the world existed. The one I used to think was only for me. I watched it once. That was enough. I didn't rage. Didn't break anything. Didn't call her or yell. I didn't even tear up. Everything just went quiet, empty. Like someone had muted the world inside my head. I checked the time. 2:47 p.m. She'd still be at work for a few more hours. I had time. I drove home, walked into our apartment, and looked around at the furniture we'd picked out together. The photos on the walls. The little souvenirs from our trips. I saw the sweater she'd borrowed from me lying on the couch, the one I always thought looked good on her. I picked it up and folded it. Then I started packing. Not frantically, not angrily, methodically. I pulled empty cardboard boxes from the special closet and began filling them with my things. My clothes, my records, my laptop. Everything that was mine went into my car, load after load. I didn't pack any of her things. That would have tipped her off immediately. I was removing myself from the equation entirely. I took only what belonged to me. I left the furniture we bought together, left the photos on the walls, left everything shared exactly where it was. The apartment would look the same when she walked in, except I wouldn't be there anymore. By 6:30 p.m., my car was packed. The apartment looked untouched, like I'd just stepped out to grab groceries. I took my key off my key ring and set it on the kitchen counter. Then I walked out and locked the door with the spare I kept in my wallet. When I was done, I slid that spare under the door. No note, no explanation. She knew what she did. She didn't deserve my words. When I closed the apartment door behind me for the last time, the click felt final solid like something inside me had locked into place. I drove to a hotel. Nothing fancy, just clean and quiet, and checked in. At 7:18 p.m., right on time, she texted, "Babe, heading home. Want me to pick up dinner?" I didn't respond. At 7:42 p.m., "You there?" No answer. At 8:06 p.m., is something wrong? Still nothing. At 8:19 p.m., the first call came in. I ignored it. 20 minutes later, another. Ignored. Then another. Ignored. Then the flood started. Back to back, one after another. Relentless. She'd walked into an apartment that wasn't empty of furniture but empty of me. My clothes have gone from the closet. My toothbrush gone from the bathroom. My shoes are missing from the rack. My laptop, my books, my guitar all gone. At first, she probably thought I was just out. Maybe grabbing dinner, maybe at the gym. But as minutes turned into an hour, and my things stayed gone, and I didn't answer, panic set in. 47 calls by 2 a.m. 47. All unanswered. She left voicemails. Sent paragraphs. Confused messages. Angry ones. Desperate ones. I didn't respond to a single one. Not one. Because the moment I saw that video, the moment I watched her wrap her arms around another man, like I didn't matter, something inside me finally shifted. I had been loyal. I had been patient. I had been trusting, and she threw it all away for a weekend fling in a moment of attention. I didn't rage. I didn't beg. I didn't negotiate with someone who had already chosen someone else, even if just for one night. I simply walked away. I didn't know her a conversation. I didn't know her tears. I didn't know her closure. She made her choice, and I made mine. I didn't sleep that first night. Not because I was heartbroken, I was past that. I just couldn't shut my mind off. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw that video. Not the dancing, the smile. That genuine, unguarded joy on her face while she was pressed against someone else. My phone vibrated nonstop on the nightstand until around 2 a.m. Then it stopped. I assumed her battery died, or she finally realized I wasn't reacting the way she expected. Because that's the thing, she expected a reaction. She expected yelling, tears, arguments, accusations. The whole dramatic scene she could twist into something like we both said things we didn't mean. She wanted chaos. I gave her silence. Silence is harder to manipulate. Around 6 a.m., she tried again. 2 calls, 1 text. "Babe, please pick up." Right. That's what you call a guy after dancing on another man at a work event you conveniently forgot to mention. By 8 a.m., she switched strategies. "We need to talk." Translation. She needed me to help rewrite the story so she wouldn't look like the villain. I turned my phone face down and went out to get coffee. By noon, her tone shifted again. "Where are you?" "I'm worried." Worried she'd lost her safety net. Not worried about me. By the time the sun set again, she escalated. "If you don't answer, I'm coming to find you." She wasn't. She didn't know where to start. She called twice more, then sent a long message about communication, misunderstandings, and how she didn't mean anything by it. I didn't respond to that either. I didn't feel obligated to explain the basics of respect to someone who clearly didn't understand it. That evening, she finally reached the stage I'd been waiting for. "Can we just reset and start over?" There it was. The panic, the fear, the realization that her harmless fun had consequences. But here's the thing. I wasn't interested in watching her cycle through denial, manipulation, justification, and bargaining. I'd seen enough. The next morning, I checked out of the hotel, grabbed my bag, and drove 2 hours to my brother's place. He didn't ask questions, just handed me a beer and pointed to the guest room. Her calls kept coming. Her messages kept stacking up. Her desperation kept growing. I stayed silent, and that silence was louder than anything I could have said. By the 3rd day, she shifted. It's a full revisionist mode. I knew it was coming. Cheaters always rewrite the story not because they believe the lie, but because they need you to. Her first attempt came mid-morning. Text 1. "Can we talk?" It wasn't what it looked like. Of course it never is. An hour later came the second. Text 2. "You're blowing this way out of proportion." Translation. Her actions created the problem, and somehow I was now responsible for how it made her feel. Then came the voice messages. She must have realized texts weren't working. I didn't listen to them, just read the previews. A few desperate lines were enough. "Please just pick up. We can work this out. You're not even giving me a chance to explain. I didn't do anything wrong." Really? Dancing on another guy at a party you hid from me, completely innocent behavior, right? I could practically hear her pacing, spiraling, panicking. Not because she lost me, I doubt she even understood what that meant, but because she lost control of the narrative. Special? By that evening, she tried a new angle. "You're acting childish." There it was, the insult. When manipulation fails, they turn to disrespect. When that fails, they play the victim. When that fails, they get aggressive. And when that fails, they unravel. Around midnight, she left another message. This one was different, longer, more chaotic. I don't deserve this. You're treating me like, I don't even know what you think I did. It was just dancing. It meant nothing. You're the one making it weird. Everyone dances at parties. It's normal. Good. Let her talk. Let her explain herself into a corner. Let her cycle through every tone of anger, laughter, fake confusion, guilt trips without a single word from me. My silence was a mirror, and all she saw in it was herself. The next day, the calls slowed. Not because she calmed down, but because she was adjusting her strategy. Around noon, she sent a softer voice message, the kind someone uses when they know they're caught. Can we just put this? I miss you. I love you. Please answer. Love. Interesting time to remember that word. Later that afternoon, a different kind of text came through, the rehearsed one, carefully crafted to sound reasonable. I think the healthy thing is to communicate. Running away solves nothing. Running away. I didn't run. I walked calmly, quietly, deliberately. Now she was timing her messages, spacing them out, trying not to seem desperate. She was still desperate. Around 7 p.m., she finally cracked and sent the confession she thought would pull me back in. I only danced with him because I felt insecure and wanted your attention. I didn't mean to hurt you.
Right.
Now her pain was somehow my fault. Then came the follow-up. I didn't tell you about the party because I didn't want you to overreact. Translation. She planned to hide it and would have kept hiding it if her coworker hadn't slipped. Her panic wasn't about what she did. It was about getting caught. She started calling from special, blocked numbers. I let them ring. I didn't decline. Declining gives them control. It tells them you're watching. Letting it ring tells them nothing. Just before midnight, she sent one last message. If you still care about me, please pick up. If not, I don't know what I'll do. A classic performative crisis. She wasn't offering accountability, she was fishing for reassurance. She got neither. I put the phone face down, turned off the lamp, and lay in the dark, listening to the silence. The gaps between her messages were getting longer, because slowly, painfully, she was starting to understand. She had lost access to me, not because I was angry, because I was done. By the 5th day, the silence wasn't just something she noticed, it was something she feared. Her messages became scattered, unfocused, raw. The polished tone was gone. The calm let's talk persona had disappeared. The IT meant nothing angle didn't work on someone who refused to show emotional weakness. This was where the unraveling began. I didn't orchestrate anything. I didn't have to. She was tearing it all down herself. It started with a text from her best friend, someone I barely tolerated, someone who always acted like she kept a mental scoreboard of who deserved who. Hey, I think you and Emma should talk. She's been having a rough few days. I didn't respond. The friend tried again. She said, you just disappeared. That's not cool. Perfect. She'd already started spinning her version of events. I could picture he's being dramatic. He's ghosting me. He's immature. Of course, actually saying I went to a party, danced all over a guy from work, got caught, and he walked away without a word, wouldn't exactly make her the victim. Later that evening, her coworker, the one who slip messaged me from an unknown number. Dude, I didn't mean to cause problems. I thought she told you. I didn't reply, but that told me everything. She was blaming him now. She must have confronted him at work, probably in front of others, probably in that sharp defensive tone she used when cornered. I could picture it. Her raising her voice, coworkers watching, him standing there awkwardly while she demanded explanations for a situation she created herself. When manipulative people lose control, they go feral. A few hours later, she texted again, rapid fire this time. Why are you doing this? We can fix this. It was nothing. Are you with someone else? Just answer me. I didn't answer. That night, the first real cracks appeared, consequences she couldn't talk her way out of. At 2 a.m., is this because of the video? It wasn't that bad. 2:06 a.m. Everyone was drunk. 2:09 a.m. He was drunk too. You should have seen him stumbling. 2:11 a.m. Why did you take all your stuff? That was psycho. There it was, the fallback. Insult the man who won't engage. When manipulation fails, they turn to disrespect. When disrespect fails, desperation follows. At 2:30 a.m., another message. Can you please just talk? This place? Her tone had cracked. No more toughness. No more pretending. She wasn't worried. She was unraveling. And the best part? She didn't even realize it. I wasn't punishing her. I wasn't playing games. I wasn't doing anything at all. Her downfall was entirely self-inflicted. The next morning, I woke up to a string of voice messages from her mom's number. A voice I recognized but hadn't heard directly in a while. Sugary, sweet, patronizing. That I raised an angel tone that makes your stomach turn. Hi, sweetheart. I don't know what's going on between you two, but Emma is devastated. We all make mistakes. You can't just abandon her. Ah, yes, the family guilt brigade. I didn't respond. She loves you. Relationships require forgiveness. Translation. I don't care what she did, fix it so she stops bothering us. By noon, the predictable final message came from her mom. Please call her. She can't sleep. Neither could I that first night, just for very different reasons. She just couldn't sleep because she was spiraling. I couldn't sleep because I was processing the end of a relationship, but I woke up rested, focused, free. Meanwhile, she was falling apart, trying every angle, every voice, every manipulation she'd ever used. None of it worked, because for the first time in her life, she'd hit a wall she couldn't charm, guilt trip, or control. A man who genuinely didn't need anything from her. By sunset, she made one final attempt to rewrite the narrative. If you're going to throw everything away over one dance, then I guess you're not the man I thought you were. I laughed quietly to myself. She still believed she controlled the story. She didn't understand the truth, the part that would hit her even harder once it settled in. I wasn't throwing anything away. I was letting go of dead weight, and she was finally starting to realize that nothing she said, not a single sentence, could change the one thing that terrified her most. She had lost access to me, and this was all she ever valued. Eventually, she showed up in person. By then, I'd gone back to the city, staying at a different hotel closer to work. I wasn't hiding from her, but I wasn't making myself available either. I was walking out of a coffee shop near my office when I saw her car parked across the street. She was leaning against it, arms crossed, like she'd been waiting. When she spotted me, she straightened immediately, eyes wide, frantic, not at my door. She didn't know exactly where I was staying, but she'd figured out enough: my routine, my workplace, the coffee shop I always went to. I'd seen her through the window before stepping outside, standing at the curb, pacing, her hair messier than usual, her eyes red. A woman who used to obsess over her image now looked completely unhinged. Perfect. I walked out calmly, hands in my pockets, posture relaxed, like I was greeting a distant acquaintance. I didn't rush. I didn't tense up. I didn't react to her frantic energy. She rushed, special, toward me like a hurricane. Why are you ignoring me? She stood too close, her voice cracking, her breathing uneven. I took a step back. Her eyes immediately flicked to the space I created. She hated that. I've been calling you, she continued, her tone bouncing between anger and panic. Texting, leaving messages. You can't just disappear like that. That's not fair, I repeated. No anger, just the word flat, empty. She flinched at the lack of emotion in my voice. She wanted anger. Anger was still engagement. I wasn't giving her that. She threw her hands up. It was one dance. That's all. One stupid moment. Everyone was drunk. You're really willing to throw everything away over that? I said nothing. The silence stretched, and she filled it just like I knew she would. I didn't even do anything. I didn't cheat. I don't understand what you think happened. I pulled out my phone, opened the video, and held it up between us. Not aggressively, not accusing, just showing. Stop. She covered her mouth, not guilt, embarrassment. And then she said the line that sealed it. That's not your taking it out of context. I put the phone away. You hid the party, I said calmly. You hid the video. You hid the guy. I didn't hide anything, she shot back, her voice rising. I just didn't think it was important. There it was, the truth. She didn't think respect was important. She didn't think loyalty was important. She didn't think I was important. She only cared now because I walked away. She stepped closer again, her voice softening. Can we just talk, please? I miss you. I love you. I made a mistake. No, I said. Just one word. Her face crumpled, not from heartbreak, but from losing control. You're being ridiculous, she snapped. You can't just judge me based on one thing you saw. You're supposed to trust me. I tilted my head slightly. Not dramatic, just measured. You don't get to lecture me about trust, I said. Not after lying. I didn't lie, she insisted. You didn't tell the truth, I corrected. Same thing. She blinked rapidly, panic creeping back in. So what now? You're leaving me? Just like that? I already left. Her breath caught. That one hit. You can't just leave without a conversation. You owe me. I don't owe you anything. No raised voice. No shift in tone. Just a fact. She stared at me, stunned like logic had just slapped her. You made your choices, I continued. I made mine. That's it. Her eyes filled with tears, not sadness, frustration. She hated that she had no emotional leverage. Please, she whispered. Just come home. We can fix this. I swear I'll do better. I'll change. I just need you. I looked at her. Really looked at her. Not with nostalgia. Not with longing. Not with pain. Just observation. You missed the version of me that tolerated you. She froze. And that version of me doesn't exist anymore. She opened her mouth, closed it, then opened it again, searching for something. Anything. Special. That would give her control back. Nothing came. Finally, I said the last thing. Calm. Steady. Final. You don't have access to me anymore. She stared at me like the ground had dropped beneath her feet, and I walked away. No dramatic exit, no final glance back, no apology, no softness, just distance. Distance she could never cross again. Thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit the like button. What do you think about this story? Share it in the comments.